You're at 109 right now.
All right, so this is Oman. This is Muscat, the capital. Over here, you notice this is the Muscat International Airport. I landed here. A driver met me at the airport and drove me into the city, and he drove me to the hotel. There was a hotel in this region here where I arrived at night. The night that I arrived, it was late at night, and I had to sleep and get ready for the next day. So he drove me to the hotel, dropped me off here, told me tomorrow we will pick you up and take you to the office to sign your work contract. I said, okay, great. So in the morning, he met me over here and drove me a short distance to the Al Nawa office here. All right, where this marker is located, that's where they drove me, to the Al Nawa office. When I pulled up, we parked somewhere here in the parking lot. And then I walked in, and as I was walking this way and entered this entryway, there was a car parked right here, just as I see it here. Here, there was a car parked here, and I looked at the license plate, and I saw the license plate read 109. Those were the first three digits of this car. Now, let me explain. When I got to Oman, it was, let's see, June. It's about 5 or 6 months after having left Saudi Arabia. After I lived in Saudi Arabia, during the time I lived in Saudi Arabia, I saved a lot of money. And when I got to Oman, I still had a lot of my savings. But I felt as if I was chasing the dollar in another Middle Eastern country. That's kind of how I felt. I felt displaced. I felt like I couldn't find work in Los Angeles. I traveled halfway around the globe to this place called Oman to work for some people to chase these dollars. So I was kind of conflicted, and I kind of wondered to myself, like, why am I just chasing these dollars? Like, what? What is life? What is it all about? Just chasing dollars? And when I went, just before going into the office, when I saw this car parked out here, and I noticed that the license plate read 109, the first three digits, then I kind of felt as if I was where I needed to be. I felt as if it was a sign from God, because I had seen those numbers so many times before in so many other countries. I thought it was a very serendipitous, synchronistic moment to see my favorite numbers on the car outside of the company, outside the headquarters, the building where I was going to sign my life away, basically for the next year, or so I thought. So I took it as a good omen. I did not take a picture of that car on that day. I just went in and handled business, and that was it. I'm making this video now because I want to share a story with you, because it was 6 short months later when this company fired me and I was going to leave Oman. So on the day that I was going to leave Oman, there was this car parked out. Well, excuse me. On the day that I was going to leave Oman, or around the time that I was going to leave this country, I had to go back to this office here and sign exit documents. On one of the days when I returned to this office and signed those documents, I found that same car that was parked out in front of the building. And I noticed that it was the same car. I knew it was the same car because the license plate was the same. It said 109. But because I was there, because I remembered that car from 6 months prior, I studied that car and I made sure to take a picture of that car, so I got the picture. And I remember that picture because the car's license plate read 10914. All right. I have that picture. Okay. Now, I was leaving the country because they fired me. So these are the offices. Now, here's something that happened. When I was leaving the country, the Al Nawa office, well, they had to pay me my my final paycheck. And they had already purchased my plane ticket before I received my final paycheck, and I demanded that I receive the money in my account, that I would wait for the money to deposit into my account before I leave the country, because I didn't have faith, and I figured something could go wrong. Anything could go wrong, and I just don't want to risk it. So anyhow, over the time that I waited, I went back to the hotel right over here, and I stayed in this area, stayed in the hotel over here, waiting until the money was deposited. I remember this area because when I walked outside of the hotel here, I walked down this way. This is a gas station here. I remember that. And then over here, there are some restaurants. So I went over here and I had a bite to eat, probably some chicken and rice and what have you. I remember that. Okay. But here's something that happened. This is the reason why I'm making this video, because at the office over here, I was talking with my hiring manager, and I said, or he told me, Larry, can we buy your ticket? Can we buy, did you get your money? That's what he asked me. Has the money hit your account yet? That's what he was asking me. And I was like, well, no, the money hasn't hit my account yet. I would have received a message on my phone, because in this country, they send messages before money is deposited. So, you get notification, but I hadn't received notification. And so my hiring manager, who was over here, told me, he said, hey, go to the ATM and check to see if the money is in your account. And I was upset that he would tell me that, because I was expressing to him that, hey, man, I would have received a message from the bank if the money was deposited. I don't need to go to the ATM to check it out. I haven't received the message yet, so I know the money's not there. He said, yeah, well, Larry, you still need to go to the ATM, because sometimes these messages don't come through the network or blah, 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 blah. So I was upset, and I said, fine, but I acquiesced. I capitulated. I said, fine, man, you're right. You probably know the system better than I do, so I'll go ahead and go check the ATM. Now, there were no ATMs around this hotel section where, for my particular bank, for me to check my balance. So that meant that I had to go outside and walk. I even went outside and walked around this area looking for the ATM, which is how I remember that this gas station is here and that this, what is this? These restaurants are over here. All right, so here's what happened. I left this hotel, and then I walked outside. I went up this way, I suppose. No, I didn't. I remember I went through here and walked through this this area here. So I had to walk this way, and then I probably didn't walk straight this way. I hope you can see the cursor. I walked across this way, I'm sure. And then I went this way here. And then I walked down this street. I walked down this road. I walked down this road, all the way down this road, until I got to this location here where the ATM for my bank was located. All right, let me zoom out a little bit to give you a better view. Okay, so the bank, the ATM that allowed me to check my balance was all the way over here, and I had to walk all the way down this road here, across these parking lots, and then all the way from my hotel over here. There might have been an ATM somewhere near me, somewhere over here. I just didn't know where it was. So I went to this one over here. It might look like a great distance, but it's not. I walked it. It was easy peasy. But the thing about it is that when I walked it, it was in the, it was hot. It was like July, and we're in the middle of summer. And I'm like, that was one of the reasons why I was upset about having to check my balance rather than check my phone, because I had to walk in the heat. And the hiring manager told me, go do it. All right, so here's what happened on day one. I went all the way over there. I checked my balance. My money wasn't there. I called him. I said, look, man, I checked the phone. I checked my ATM just like you told me to. I checked the ATM. There's no money there. So he was like, okay, well, check tomorrow. I was like, oh, man. So I walk back, go back, one day passes and the next day passes. Excuse me. One day passes. So it's the next day, same situation. I go outside. I walk all the way to the ATM. No money. I call the guy. I say, hey, man, there's no money in my account. I'm still waiting for the money. He says, don't worry, Larry. It'll be deposited. You'll probably get it tomorrow. I said, all right, man, whatever. Still, I'm upset. I'm pissed. I'm walking in this heat to go check my account. I get back over here to the hotel. I'm like, all right, I'm back at the hotel. I can chill another day. On the third day, as I'm walking, okay, something peculiar happened. And as I was walking toward that bank, toward the ATM, about here, somewhere in here, I crossed paths with a vehicle, a car. That car's license plate read 1090. Now, mind you, it was day 3, so 3 days is plenty of time. If you're waiting for a deposit, probably takes about 3 days. Well, the fact that I was crossing paths with a vehicle with a license plate that read 1090 on the day that there's a great possibility that my money would be there, well, I used the number 109 as an omen to give me confidence. So I said to myself, my money is there. And the way that I know that my money is there is because I see 109 on that license plate. And so I made my way all the way to the market where the ATM was. I checked my balance, and sure enough, my money was there. Then I walked back. It might have taken me 10 minutes from the hotel to get there. I don't know how long it took. I don't think it took me half an hour, but it took a very short time for me to get there and then to get back. I mean, short enough, right? Well, on my way back, and mind you, I wasn't shopping in the market or anything like that. I just went there to check my my balance. But it was a pretty quick turnaround. I walked in there, checked my balance, got it, and I walked out. And on my way back, you know what? That car with that license plate 1090 was not there. It was gone. So anyhow, I called the hiring manager and I let him know, hey, my money's here. I'm ready to leave the country. They said, all right, now that you have your money, we'll buy your ticket and we will send you home. And I said, thank you. And then the gentleman picked me up from here and drove me to the airport, which is over here. All right. Where's that airport? Am I bugging? Where's the airport? Wow, the airport was quite far, farther than I imagined. Okay, it was way over here. He drove me all the way over here. And I boarded the plane and I went back home. Yeah. All right, one final story. I went to the Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque. And I was there exploring, only on the outside. I was basically a tourist, just looking around and stuff like that. But then when prayer call came, all of the tourists were asked to leave, go outside the gate. I didn't understand what was happening, really. There were thousands of men around the mosque, and I just figured I would stay there and wait. I figured it'd be like 10 minutes or so that I would wait. It was actually more like 30, possibly 40 minutes. But anyway, what happened is, while I was inside of the mosque, on the mosque grounds rather, when the prayer call hit, all of those thousands of men who were standing around went inside to pray. And I was the lone individual within the mosque's grounds, and I was seated right here. right at this corner here. I was seated right here, all alone. It was a very lonely moment. Oh, look, they have the women's chapel over here. So there were men and women here. I was seated here all alone. It was a very uncomfortable moment because I couldn't leave the grounds, and I was quite conspicuous. There was maybe an imam. There was someone who was beckoning all of the worshipers to come in, and he came to the door and saw alone me, and he sort of beckoned me to come over, but because I'm not Muslim, I don't speak Arabic, I don't know how to pray and all that. I was like, I'm not gonna disrespect your religion by going in there and pretending to know what's happening. So the gentleman beckoned me, and I didn't move, and I just looked at him like I'm not going anywhere. And then he turned around and went back to the prayer that was going on. It was a very uncomfortable moment for me, but I was there at the Grand Mosque, inside the Grand Mosque, all alone during prayer call, and that was wild. All right, those are my stories.
You're at 109 right now.